All right, guys, welcome to Gamblers Podcast, Dark Side of Gambling. Wanted to talk a little bit today about fantasy sports and some of the advertising that we see, not just fantasy sports, but also sports betting, but really more so related to the fantasy sports websites that exist. And obviously, those are FanDuel, DraftKings, and obviously a variety of looks like prize picks and some underdog things like that kind of give people different types of ways that they can play and I guess risk their money. A lot of people don't view this as gambling for whatever reason. I think it's they think maybe a contest maybe is less harmful to them. Maybe a $20 over and under on somebody's yardage for the day might not be that scary to the normal person, but most people don't realize that these things that they have available to you is really just a hook to continue to get you into all their other uh, games, or wager types, contests, whatever the website happens to be promoting. So one of the things that bothers me the most, and the reason why I kind of wanted to make this, is really seeing how many ads through today as I'm kind of watching different streams. You're seeing some FanDuel, you're seeing some DraftKings, and then I'm seeing the same ads on the internet, on X, on social media, and it really just kind of bothers me seeing the athletes now. And I'll name a few. I've seen LeBron James do a commercial, I think, with Kevin Hart. Kevin Durant is doing, he does picks or something for FanDuel. I saw an ad for that. I seen, um, I think a football player to today doing an ad as well for one of these websites, and at the end of it, you see them talk about responsible gambling or put the ad at the bottom. At the end of the day, I think anybody who's listening to me right now knows that that phone number is not really going to divert anybody. That little tiny writing, the little bit of a warning, isn't going to divert anybody. It's also not going to give anybody any information that this is not a fun, cozy game. When they offer you a little bonus, a free play to bring you in, once you've lost that first few dollars, if you've never lost money, it could be the hook that drags you in and the anchor that sets you in and doesn't allow you to swim out. And unfortunately, people are not prepared for this because they really don't know what all of these websites can do in terms of combining the accessibility with somebody that might have a problem with addiction. So if you have a problem with addiction and let's say you lose a lot of money on one particular website and you decide that's the moment where you remove yourself and whatever option they allow you to on the website to self exclude, you do that. And then all of a sudden you go from one website to, well, now you have 13, 14, up to 50 others, depending if you want to go offshore or the state that you live in. I live in state of California where you don't have the ability to wager on sports on your phone on an app like a FanDuel or a DraftKings, but you could play fantasy. I've also lived in Las Vegas where you could not do any fantasy. You could only sports wager, or you could only wager within whatever the casinos allowed you to do. So the rules and kind of how it's presented to people in different ways are very inconsistent. And when I see it, I get very concerned that people who watch it think that it's an easier way to make money. It's a different way. It's a more legitimate way. It's a way that, when you're at work or when you take a loss or, maybe when you're talking to some friends, that it doesn't seem like you have a gambling issue if you're playing some sort of a contest. But in all reality, the contest isn't really a contest. It's just another angle to bring you into gamble. And for me, what used to hook me when it came to fantasy sports, specifically daily fantasy, was seeing a big prize pool. So once you get into these websites, and you see the prizes available, those big prizes, the big numbers, they draw people in. I mean, they drew me in. They drew me into a point where rather than spending and playing the amounts that I could afford, I ended up playing amounts that made me look like somebody who was probably rich. In all reality, I didn't have that kind of money. I just kept finding access to it. And luckily, in some cases, not luckily, in a good way, but at that time, I had won in some cases. So I was able to continue um, playing those games or the contests or whatever. And then at some point, you realize that the odds, the math, the luck that you need in your favor, none of it ultimately will uh, roll around in your favor. It's going to be the opposite. It's going to put you in a position where you're going to continue to look for the next opportunity. And for me, sometimes, and this is where I even got worse with it, I think I know what I'm doing so much that, when I put something into fantasy sports, I'd say, you know what? I'm so sure about this that let me also go now put some money on the actual game or the game total or some sort of a prop bet on an offshore website. So somebody like me on a Sunday, I might have two different offshore betting websites with wagers going, with also a FanDuel, multiple contests that could range anywhere from 100 and change for the buy-in to up to a little over 1,000, depending on the type of tournament it was. But my goal was every Sunday was to make sure I didn't miss out on the biggest tournaments. Because if for some reason I ended up winning money in a lower level tournament, I would kick myself in the butt and I would be very upset that I didn't uh, put my money into something more, I guess, worthy of a payout. And maybe I missed an opportunity there. So that mentality kept me into the keep playing mode. And because I won sometimes, it tricked me into thinking that this was going to be something that's consistent. And at the end of the day, maybe there are some people that win consistently, have a formula that they're very disciplined with, and maybe they, over time, the math adds up to where they make a certain amount of profit. And, you know, maybe that might be a theory that works for one person. But at the end of the day, I doubt there's anybody out there who is opening up each and every one of their wagers, their books, their spreadsheets, their records of every single wager, of every single bet, of every single tournament that they've entered into. They will never tell you. They will only tell you what they want to know. And in all reality, at the end of the day, if you don't have the kind of bankroll to uh, win and lose through, everything, then, you know, somebody like myself doesn't belong in that world. And today is a perfect example of that as I watch these ads from FanDuel and DraftKings, and then I'm on X and I'm seeing nothing but underdog and some of these other prize picks and things like that popping up in different threads, whether they're posting, replying, maybe, everything seems like a fun time, in their accounts or their websites or whatever the case is when you look at their commercials that they present to you. But it's a place of losing. They'll give you a free, hey, this is, a free, a bet. This quarterback is guaranteed to go over 1 yard. All they have to do is get 1 yard and you can win $10. Well, they do that. So you put your information in there, you're committed in some way, and then you eventually will decide, what's the harm in putting another $10 in after I lose that $10 that they gave me? Then that $10 turns numbers that you're not prepared for. So I've burnt myself from these websites. I've self-excluded from some. I actually cannot play. I may have mentioned it different in a different video, but I am banned from FanDuel. I am banned from DraftKings. Now, keep in mind, uh, any gambler here knows that if you're banned from something, there's always a way around, whether it's using somebody else's account, having somebody else log you in through a new account, IP, VPN situation, whatever the case may be. Um, trying to find ways around getting in and out of these websites or these establishments to be able to place your wagers, get into the contest, becomes kind of ridiculous. And you only realize it later down the line when you're sitting down and you're trying to watch a game and you're trying to enjoy the game like I am today, and you're seeing some self-righteous celebrity or athlete sitting there trying to send all this propaganda at you that you should be playing whatever game they have for you on this Sunday or whatever day of the week it is. NBA is probably going to have some contests or whatever. So they got LeBron James sitting there pitching it for you. They're going to sit there and they're going to act like they're some of the best people on planet Earth, but they have no care in the world that there are some young people out there, some older people, some people who have been through a lot of things that are going to be harmed because they went on a website that they convinced them to go on there and play because, they're trustworthy LeBron or they're trustworthy whoever. And hopefully, most of you are smart enough to see through the propaganda and the things that you see, uh, when it comes to ads, marketing, when it comes to what's presented to you within the news. Hopefully, you can think for yourself and you can see through nonsense that these companies will send to you simply because they don't respect our intellect. Sorry about my voice. Um, but they don't respect uh, our intellect. They don't respect how much we're able to think these things through. And the simple ads that they send to you are calculated. They may look simple, but they're calculated. Just like everything in a Vegas casino is calculated, so are these ads. So are the platforms they're presented on, the time frames in which they're shown to you. So keep all that stuff in mind. If you get a temptation, if somebody gives you a free code for some sort of a discount or a free play, pass on it. If somebody offers you, hey, you know what? Hey, I'll spot you, $10. I'll put it in. I'll put it down for you. Pass on it. Tell them thanks, but no thanks. At the end of the day, enjoy a sporting event for what it is. Consume sports if you enjoy it. If you don't, if you gambled to enjoy sports, then maybe sports isn't for you. Maybe it's something completely different. But find something you enjoy. Find something that you can do every day, or at least focus on. Whether that's video games, I think we have. If you're a gamer, you have different things available now. All kinds of games near this time of the year that come out for people to play. Occupy the mind. Find a hobby. Get outside, touch some grass. Enjoy uh, the outdoors. Do things outside of your current comfort zone, whatever that happens to be, and find something that you're passionate about. Just know that you're not dealing with it alone. You're not the only one thinking about these things every day. I am as well. Doesn't matter if I've been, away from gambling for a while, or a week, or a day, or 10 years. It does not matter because you still think about the same thing, consider uh, same thoughts, and it's always a challenge because life throws challenges at you. And sometimes when you get those challenges, the first thing that comes to your mind is, how can I double up? So the next time you think about doubling up and you see one of these commercials, uh, you know, just remember what side of the fence you're going to be on. Hopefully, if you think it through, if you're patient with yourself, if you take a moment and realize that it's simply not worth it. So, hopefully, you had a great weekend. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. Those of you who subscribed, appreciate it. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks again.